Hello, welcome to lesson 9 Arrays in C Sharp, brought to you by Ankpro Technologies. My name is Harish. In this session, we'll understand what is an array and the advantages and disadvantages of array. Before jumping into arrays, we'll just recall in the previous sessions how did we create a variable and stored a value in it. To understand that, we'll jump into Visual Studio and start coding. And I create a variable called x and the return type of it is integer. I'm storing a value called 10 to it. Keep in mind I can store only one value to a variable, but if I want to store 100 values to the same variable, it is not possible, and that can be done using an array. To overcome that problem, C Sharp gave us a special item called array, and we'll understand the definition of it. Array Array is a special type of data type which can store fixed number of values sequentially using special syntax. Our technical definition is something like this. An array is a collection of variables of same type that are referred to by a common name. It means array is a collection of variables and that variables of same data type and that are referred to by a common name, and all the variables of the same data type and that should be referred to by a common name. To understand that, we'll jump into coding. Before that, I would like to show how to create an array. Creating an array includes three steps. First is array declaration, array initialization and storing values, accessing array elements. It means that first we'll declare the array, then we'll initialize the array. It means we'll specify the size of the array or we'll store the values to the array and getting back those array elements. To understand these three steps, we'll jump into coding and explore them. First, I want to create an array. To create an array, first we have to give the return type with the brackets followed by the array name. The array name here is numbers equals, and I'll use the new keyword to assign the memory space for that variable, and I suppose in this variable in this variable numbers, I want to store three values in it. So I have to specify what is the size of an array. So if I want to store three values to an array, I have to specify the actual size of it, that is 3. This is array declaration. Now once the array is declared, now we want to initialize it. Now we want to store values to it. How to store values? To store values, array uses index based, index based, that is numbers, and it will use the integral indices, that is 0. And if you want to, now suppose I want to store the even numbers, I'll store directly like this. It means that the array index always starts from, if the size of the array is 3, and the array index starts from 0, 1, 2. Now in the first index I am storing the value 2, and similarly in the second index I want to store 4. Similarly in the third index I want to store 6. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a collection of numbers, that is in a single variable I'm trying to store 3 values, and that can be achieved using an array. In the first step we are declaring an array and we are specifying the size of it. Means I'm creating an array of numbers. This is the array name of return type integer and the size is 3. Since the size is 3, I can store only 3 values in it. So array index always starts with 0, that is index based. Integral index, the 0 is the integral index. Array starts in this form, that is from 0, 1, 2. Therefore it can occupy only 3 spaces since the size of an array is 3. Now once array is declared and initialized, now I want to access it back. Means I want to print it on the console. How to do that? I'll use console dot write line numbers. Now if I want to see the second value in an array of numbers, I will just call the specified index, and this will print me the value 4 on the console. It means that I called the index 1 but the value stored in it is 4, sorry. So it gave me the output as 4. This is the way how we'll create an array, how do you declare an array, how to store value in an array, and how to access back the array, means how to check back the elements in the console window, means how to check back the elements stored in the array. And we'll understand this clearly in an image representation. I'll jump back into presentation, and this is the array representation. The following image shows how an array stores values sequentially. It means that in the previous example I took array variable name as numbers, and that numbers 2 4 and 8, 2 4 and 6, and respective index was 0 0 1 and 2. It means that the index of array starts from 0 1 and 2, and the values respectively start storing from 0. And so our array index starts from 0 and ends with 2, since the size of an array in the example was 3 and the value stored in it was 2 4 and 6. In the above figure you can observe index is a number starting from 0, yes it is, which stores the value, and we can store a fixed number of values in an array. It means that once we declare an array, we can't alter the size of array. It can't store extra values in it, and array index will be increased by 1 sequentially till the maximum specified array size. It means that once you store the value to it, uh, array size will increase by 1 sequentially, means once I store value to 0, unless explicitly tell to store value in 3, it will store in 1, that is sequentially. It will store the value sequentially, and it will store until the maximum specified size. If you specify the size of an array as 10, and it will store from 0 to 10 and not the 11th place, not at the 11th index. That is the meaning of this sentence. And arrays advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: arrays are strongly typed. To understand that, here my array name is numbers and the return type of that is integer, and here if I try to store string value, it will throw me a compile time error telling that cannot implicitly convert type into string. It means that once you specify the return type of an array, and it will be bound to that, and it can't store the other values of the other data type. So it means that arrays are strongly typed. And the disadvantages are, this is the great advantage of array, that is being strongly typed, and disadvantages are array size cannot grow in size once initialized. To understand this, now my array size is 3, but if I try to store the fourth value, when I build this, build will get succeed, but when I try to run this program, it will throw me an error telling that index out of range exception. It means that it is telling us your size of an array is 3, but you are trying to store the fourth variable, which is not possible to me. And this is the disadvantage of an array. And the second disadvantage is, every time when we want to retrieve and store value to an array, we have to use integral indices. It means that this is storing values to array, and this is accessing values. Every time when I have to store, I have to call the integral index of that particular integral index, that is 0 1 2 3, and in order to retrieve also I have to call every time particular indices. This is the major disadvantage. This is the disadvantage of an array also. And suppose the size of an integer is 3, but I'm trying to store the fourth value. When I build this, it will give me build succeed, but when I run this, I'll get an exception. Keep in mind, these are the two disadvantages of an array. One is array size is fixed. Once it is initialized, we can't vary the size of an array. And the second is, every time when I have to store and retrieve values to an array, I have to call the integral indexes of an array. So this is the disadvantages of an array. Thank you. Please subscribe to Ankpro training. Have a great day.